Fantastic. Okay. Well, Aaron, Sam, thank you guys so much for being here. And listen, I am going to be kind of quiet on this call because Sam is the ads expert and Aaron is the detailing expert here. So before we do anything else, and we're all at home, by the way, in this call. So if it's dogs, if it's babies, if it's lawnmowers, it might be in the background. Okay. But you guys who are watching this are going to watch it till the end anyways. So no worries. So listen, Aaron, give us a brief description of who you are, where you live, when you started your detailing business, where you're at now, and how you know Sam.
Of course. Thanks, Luke. So my name's Aaron. I co-own Attention to Detail Mobile Car Detailing. We're located in the south suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, as well as the Northwest Indiana. So we kind of service a little bit more than 15 different cities mobile, and we have a shop location in the south suburbs of Chicago as well. We're about to be closing in here in some pretty big numbers this year with the help of Sam, as well as the help of many different things. But we started about 2 years ago, and you've seen me on this course before, and so we're going to kind of dive deep here into ad spend, and the why to it. So, Sam, why don't you introduce yourself really quick, and then I'll kind of.
Absolutely. Well, Luke, I wanted to send my appreciation for the opportunity to come on here and talk about what it is that I do and how I do it, and I appreciate Aaron and everything that he's offered up as well as shown me. So the why, Google Ads, we always ask our questions, how are you going to grow and scale your business? What are the optimal ways and avenues and channels? You have so many different options out there, and there's so many different marketing agencies that, throw so much information at you. It's hard to parse out and understand what it is that you need for your business and how to grow that. So one of the things is I have a background 17 years in the automotive industry. I'm an interior restoration specialist, so I re-dye leather, I do all that. I'm also an alloy wheel repair specialist. I'm certified in all those things. I actually own another company outside of my agency, and that's where I get a lot of my knowledge and background. So I take that from what I've gained over the years and started this company to bring forward that information and offer it up to detailers and other OEM service specialists in the automotive industry. That's kind of where I am because I saw a need. I saw a need for people to understand how to gain clients, how to retain clients, and what to do with that. So I bring a combination of consulting and education with the marketing agency. And that's, I haven't seen too many marketers that do that. And that's what I do. I do apologize.
No, that's okay. I like that you're kind of combining these two things because I think that's a lot of the heartbeat behind what we're talking about here is that at some point when you're scaling a business, there has to be some sort of actual mathematical equation we can use to scale. We have to have some sort of something that we can put money into, we can get certain things out and move at a pretty predictable and consistent rate because, as we probably all know, Facebook, let's say organic, Instagram organic, Google My Business, these things are a foundation that need to be laid, but there does have to be some sort of gas poured on top of that at some point. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about today is as we get into scaling a business through ads, which is the way we want to do it. We kind of want to talk about some specific strategies and kind of understanding the why behind what we're doing and maybe give us a little bit more context. So as we go into it, we're not blind leading the blind and wasting money. So with all of that being said, Aaron, Sam, I'll let you guys kind of start where you want to start, whichever you wants to start in terms of zooming out and us getting more specific as we go.
Yeah, of course. Good. Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Luke. So the reason I brought on Sam was because I couldn't keep doing it myself. And that's kind of the thing that you guys will start to see without your business is that stuff, you get increasingly more busy, and that might not be necessarily always in the workforce, on the job, okay? But the back end of the business is super important in actually getting those customers and retaining them. And I really found a need for someone that A, knew what they were doing, B, had an awesome personality that matched mine, and C, was kind of right there with me to kind of lead me to be successful with ads. So what Sam does for me, he's part of the team here at Attention to Detail, and he takes, everything that we talk about on a monthly basis, and he throws it into ads. He will create ads. He does everything that I need. He'll do email campaigns. I mean, he does everything. And so with those leads from the Google ads that he does, and he strictly does Google ads for me. That way he focuses on one platform. That's a really big thing that I have figured out over the last 2 years of my company, is that you don't want to shove your focus into many different things because then you can never get really good at one of them. So we found that Google ads was the number one thing to put our focus on, because
let me interrupt you while you say that so that I can kind of ask the question.
Yeah.
Because we're talking to detailers and we're talking about generating leads that we want to turn into paying customers. So on that thought, if we had to put our finger on one, Google ads or Facebook ads for that end goal, is Google ads what you guys would pick?
Absolutely. Hands
100%.
down.
100%. Can you guys explain why that is?
Exactly.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. The exact reason is intent, the warm lead situation. So Facebook, if you're just, anytime you Googled, anytime you're sitting there and you're thinking about what you want, or if you're looking for a product you need, are you going to go to Facebook and look for it? You're ready to buy that product. Are you going to go to Facebook and type in a search and say, oh, I'm going to find this on Facebook? Are you going to do that? No
way.
You're not. You're going to go to Google. You're going to go to Bing. You're going to go to a search engine. You're going to go to Amazon. And that means it's all about intent, your intention. You're intentionally searching, hunting a particular thing to fulfill whatever need it is that you have in that moment. Facebook and how Facebook's algorithm works is all about emotion and interest. If you've ever watched something and you've spent a little bit of time, the algorithm marks it down in all the attributes, because Facebook keeps 148 different data points on every single user and they specifically try to find the things that you're into and market it that way. That's why Facebook ads and Facebook ads versus boosting a post is actually never boost a post, in my opinion. This is why. If you're trying to get leads, if you're trying to brand, that's a different animal. Never try to get a lead from a Facebook post boost. If you're one lead, you have to do the Facebook ads, which is a very different animal than boosts, because basically with a boost, all you're doing is paying Facebook a ransom for all of your followers. That is all you're doing. And they get to pick how much of that is actually, apologize, he's right by my window.
That's okay.
They get to pick how much of your audience they can actually show it to. So it's really messed up. You might have 6,000 people following you, and you post something, maybe 100 of them will see it, because if they're not interested in that or haven't been interested in that, say in 2 weeks, Facebook's not going to show it to them. And if you boost it, then they'll go ahead and show it, but they're only going to show a percentage of it. They're not going to show all 6,000.
Sure.
So don't throw your money at that.
So to be very clear here, what Sam is talking about is the difference between boosting a social media post on Facebook, meaning I made a post organically, it reached 500 people, and I can pay $500 to reach 2,000 people. That's what a boosted post is. A Facebook ad is when we actually go into the back end of the ad platform that Facebook offers. We create an ad. It's got some copy. We're going to type in the demographic, the age, the interest of the group of people we want it to target. And we're probably trying to sell something on the back end. And then Google ads, what we're talking about here is actually generating leads. And maybe the best analogy would be the Google My Business page is a platform that is designed to answer searchers' intent in what they're looking for in a particular area. And that's why we're talking about Google ads here, because that is what actually generates the lead of the person who wants detailing. They're searching for detailing near me. Our, let's say, Google ad pops up, they click on call, and we're on the phone with them, or they input some sort of information like their email and things like that, where we capture something from the customer. So great. Let me ask you one more question before we move on. Is there a place, and we can talk briefly about this, but is there a place for Facebook ads in the detailing world? Is there a purpose for them for detailers at any level?
I would think so. Now, when first starting off, you can be successful and get your branding out there with with actual ads. In conjunction with good social posting, either once a day or once every 2 days, having a good engaging post of some sort on the subject. There's definitely some success to that. But that's if you're trying to grow your image, your brand. See, that's the difference. That's marketing. That's not advertising. That's very different. Advertising is trying to drive a sale. Marketing is trying to get your name out there. And so early
Got
on,
it.
Facebook is a good platform to do that, to start your brand. Now, if you want leads, you don't want to do that. Go with Google
Sure.
with leads. Start posting on your Google My Business page. Start putting pictures on Google My Business page, and do it from your phone so you can actually tag the photos with keywords. If you do it from your computer, you're not going to be able to do that. If you do it from your phone, you can actually upload them and do it in small groups, 2 or 3 photos, and say, put in, mobile detailing this awesome Audi S5.
Love it. Great. All right, we can keep going. So perfect. To just cap off what we just talked about there, we want to talk about in this video the most straight line from no lead, money in the pocket. That's what we want
Correct.
to talk about. And that's why we're talking about Google Ads, because that's what's going to drive that least curvy line to that point. So Aaron, Sam, you guys can go ahead and pick it up from there.
Yeah. Why don't you share your screen, Sam, for the PowerPoint slides, and let's kind of get that rocking and rolling. But yeah, everything Sam's saying is to the T, and that's why I structure my company on leads, because I'm not, I do both. I do run Facebook ads and Google ads, but my Facebook ads is to get my name out there, and that's all I use it for.
Absolutely.
I use it to
Master Luke, I need access to
permission.
screen
Yes,
sharing.
yes.
Sir.
Okay, let's go to.
So getting back into this, I use Facebook ads to really get my brand out there, and so people can know me, people can find me. And then when it comes to Google ads, that's when I really take my customers and I kind of pull them into the next level.
Right. Because you're trying to get people into your ecosystem who, number one, want a detail, number two, want to pay money, and number three, when you get information from them, the information you're getting is actually valuable because of the intent of the lead, or we can actually begin to retarget that person, build email campaigns for that person, all of that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So let's dive into the why here of Google ads. Yeah, I mean,
absolutely. So this is a comparison, and we talked briefly just a little while ago, but this is a comparison of, the critical points of the Google AdWords versus the Facebook ads. And you can see over here, it's critical to have a good offer. If you don't have that good offer, on your ad, and something that is enticing to somebody, something that actually gets somebody's attention, as a first line on your ad, that's important. That's one of the critical points you got to have for that.
Right.
Luke, you have a question?
Can you give an example of maybe a bad offer? I think sometimes, especially when we're talking about learning how to, right? If we invert it and say, well, what is a good offer? Sometimes it's hard to answer that, but what's a bad offer?
Absolutely.
Makes it a bit more clear.
Okay. Well,
and can I touch really quick just to throw it out there? Sorry about that, Sam, but this right here is why I do not do this myself. Okay, it's because Sam knows what he's doing, knows what he's talking about. He knows the good offers versus the bad offers, and I don't have to touch it. So not only is that lowering my stress, it's lowering my amount of workload, and I can focus on more important things. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I just needed to add that in there.
Okay. Now, every situation, a bad offer versus a good offer, you have to ask yourself as the business owner is, what can you do to increase the value of your service, whatever that service is, without adding a lot of extra labor and or cost to your business? So it's a value upgrade. So whatever that is, you take that, you have to have a value upgrade. So if you use that as a filter on your offers, so you can handle a 10% off, you can handle a 20% off on a certain thing, you can offer a full ceramic coat or a 1-year coat, say for $500, $1,000, whatever you're going to offer it for, add in, I'm going to give you 2 details, full details on another vehicle, or you can say, I'll give you a half off. That's a value that might be a little bit much, because you have to spend those man hours to detail that, and that's coming out of your pocket and it's not being paid for. So you don't want to ever overextend what you are offering. That's a bad offer as well. But just filter it through that filter of, okay, is it something that I can add that adds significant value to a consumer or somebody interested in the service? without increasing a whole bunch of man hours, debt, or extra costs. If it doesn't incur those things, that's not a bad offer.
Okay. One of the analogies I'm thinking of as you're describing that is a lot of times when you get your oil changed, they'll say, hey, you want your brakes cleaned, your brake pads cleaned. And what they'll do is they'll use compressed air and just blow them off. And it
That's
takes
extra
maybe
$10.
30 seconds. That's right. And it's like, hey, we'll do it for $25, and it's complete net profit is gross profit is net profit. So it's just a complete upgrade that takes, I call it low cost, high impact. And so when you're running an ad, what I hear you saying is, let's say the ad is really underperforming and it's not doing well. One of the things we can do in the post-mortem is say, am I making the customer feel like, at least the people seeing this, that they're getting this much extra than everybody else at no extra cost to me potentially?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. You want to
Okay.
give a sense of exclusivity. Okay, the more you make it a unique opportunity or a unique situation in your offer, of course, absolutely, you're gonna encourage more traffic. You're gonna encourage more clicks, but you
Sure.
have to
Yeah.
also maintain that relevancy. So if you're not maintaining the relevancy with your keyword, as well as a high quality and very poignantly relevant landing page for what you're offering, that's the secret sauce to Google, honestly, is the quality score. Like, and if you don't know what that is, the quality score is a measurement of the page experience, your keyword and its relevancy to the page experience, as well as the user experience and the ad copy. If the ad copy doesn't match your keyword and to the landing page, they mush that together in their algorithm and they'll mix it all up, and then they say, okay, is this a high quality ad? Is this a high quality landing page? And then you get scored on that. And the higher you score on your quality score for that, you actually pay less with Google if you do that, because Google's in it to make money. Yeah, as you can see over here, like over here, right here, Google's in it to make money. And it's the secret sauce is that quality score. And if you
Right.
understand how to use that and how to manipulate that, that's where it's at.
Okay, and to define a few terms, what Sam is saying here is you have your ad, obviously, that's created through the Google Ads
Mhm.
platform. The ad is running. When someone clicks on that ad, they're brought to something called a landing page, and that landing
Mhm.
page is sometimes a single page website that
Correct.
essentially is giving them the opportunity to take action on whatever the ad was actually telling them they could do. Potentially, it's putting in an email if they're interested in
Mhm.
winning a $10 gift certificate to your detailing business, or potentially it's a button to call you if they're interested in actually getting your detailing services. So very, very good. Understood. In terms of the relevancy, can you maybe dive into a little bit of detail in what you're saying in terms of making sure that the metadata, the keywords in the
Mhm.
back end match up with the actual copy, the actual text that's on the ad? What
Correct.
you mean by that?
Well, so basically, when somebody searches for something, that Google indexes it as a keyword. It can be one word or it can be a series of words. So detailing near me is one keyword because it's group. So when somebody actually types that in to a Google search bar, Google then takes all of everything that it's indexed and posts it up there at whatever their algorithm says or however that does it, and it ranks it. Okay, and that's your organic stuff. But they do a similar thing when it comes to your ads as well. So you get to choose in your ad groups the keywords you have. Now, you want to make sure that the keywords that you have inside that ad group for that ad match as close as possible to the actual display. So when you click on or you see a Google ad, you have the term that you search for or something close to it. You want that to match up as close as possible to the actual ad copy. So what they see and what they can read is the offer, as well as what's inside the Google ad group, because you have your campaign is up here, and then you have all your ad groups down here, and then inside each one of those ad groups you have an ad copy. And so the ad copy is your actual written text, your expanded text, as well as your offer inside of that, and then the keywords that trigger that ad and that group to fire. So Google will say, okay, this matches up, this was relevant, this is where it's at, I'm going to show this. And so if you have a higher
Right.
quality score and you have a higher relevancy, guess what? You are going to be higher on the Google ad showing. And
Right.
if you do that, you're going to be acing these Google ads.
So
I
to
mean,
flip it and to say what Sam is saying essentially not to do is, if we have an ad that's, let's say, targeting one keyword, and that is detailing in mobile auto detailing, Nashville, Tennessee. That's the one keyword we want to target, and we have that in our keyword section of our ad, in that kind of back end of setting up our ad.
Mhm.
But in the text of the ad, that we're the actual copy that people are seeing, it says lawn care in Mobile, Alabama. It's a complete mismatch in
Yeah.
terms of what you're targeting here and what you're talking about here. So this is going to be considered, this is an extreme example, but
Yeah.
it highlights maybe the logic we're using. In that ad would be not only have a low quality score because there's no, it doesn't match up, but it's also not going to work. And so to get a little bit, to maybe ask my question a little bit more specifically, if we are targeting mobile auto detailing Nashville, Tennessee,
Mhm.
we want that keyword to also be present in the
In your
ad
headline.
itself.
Correct.
Okay,
You
got
want
it.
that as best as possible. You want that keyword to be in your headlines because you get X amount of headlines. So this is where you have two different versions of ads. You have the dynamic ad that you can create, that you can have multiple headlines and let Google pick and choose according to the person who is searching, which they have a profile on, whatever that is, the analytics profile of that person coming in, because Google's like analyzed all of us. They have all our information.
Yeah.
So as that person, that IP comes in, they search for something, Google already knows all of their history. They already knows everything about them, everything we need to know as an advertiser. And so when they search it, it will show the most relevant out of the dynamic ad, the most relevant headline to the keyword, to the ad copy, and everything that way. That's one way to go about it with dynamic text. But expanded text is more static. So you want multiple versions yourself of a static expanded text. So if you have, one ad copy for the keyword and ad group, so that's one ad, then you want a second one. And Google will then offer and flip-flop them according to who's more relevant. So it's not going to show just one version of it or the other. It will show the most relevant version of either one of those expanded texts to the potential client. And
Based
that's
on what that customer is searching at the time.
correct.
Okay.
so
And
match and relevancy.
as well as the relevancy, as well as their profile, their search profile on Google.
So
So
this,
you're giving Google these two options, and they're saying, we're going to take all the info we know about the person searching, and we're going to put whichever ad is most relevant to them in front of them.
Yeah,
to
because
sorry,
Google wants to be right. Google
Right.
wants to be the number one search engine, which they are,
Right.
but they want to continue to do that. And that's why they reward marketers who are the most relevant, because
Right.
if you offer the thing that the person searched for, you're the most relevant, you're making Google look good. You're
Right.
making Google money, and so they're going to reward you for that. So they're going to say, "Yeah,
Sure.
I'm with this guy."
to tie it back to kind of what to teach you guys, okay, is that when it's the same analogy as to when you're setting up a profile, whether that be your Instagram, your Facebook, your Google My Business, you want to fill out as many things as possible in the Google My Business or in the profile. It jumps right back to ads. You want to make sure that every single thing is being filled out on your Google ads as well as matched up. I think that's kind of like the best
Right.
kind of way to put it. Can we jump to that final slide there?
Absolutely.
I want to dive into this why now.
Sure.
Yeah. Can we jump on this for a quick second, and then I kind of want to dive
Absolutely.
straight in.
Of course. So the why we do it this way, and then also in tandem with email nurtures and things like that with the software that I offer, the main reason is you keep them in your ecosystem. Once somebody's come in, those ads are the most relevant. So this person's already intent to buy. So you already have good metrics there. So we bring them in. We either they book with Aaron or they don't. And if they don't, then we offer them up and put them into a drip campaign, either text message, email, things like that, and then roll it around and then keep them in our ecosystem and keep them cycling. And then every now
So
and then
let me
throw in
define
a different offer. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Let me define a couple of those words that you just used. Basically, what Sam is saying is we run an ad to somebody, they take action on whatever that ad was, and now that brought that person into our ecosystem. We have some sort of information on them, email, phone number, whatever, based on the action they took. Then we're able to actually, when he says drip campaign, what he means is we're able to actually continue to contact that person in a variety of different ways, whether it's text message, email, to basically keep ourselves relevant to them over a certain time period. Maybe we're trying to put them into a certain offer at the end of 7 days of emails. We might have them 50% off detail or something like that. But all Sam is saying is we bring people in through the ad and we keep them engaged through a drip campaign as we drip ourselves out to them through different mediums. Keep going.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I want to add in here, we can kind of do like a 3-stage to each person kind of touches on a little bit, but let's give a shout out to Orbis X here for that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, because we've got Zapier, and Zapier kind of ties any sort of platform to Orbis X. Well, I have Sam tying all of my leads, and they go right into Orbis X, into the leads column. From there, it's super simple with Orbis X because it's not called the drip campaigns. You got super simple vocabulary, but it's lead text messaging. Okay. And so what my clients get, or I should say my leads, when they don't book with me, we kind of just start throwing them text messages, and that's why we're so successful with this, is because the minute you have a lead on your hands, they obviously are a lead for a reason. They're not just going to fill out your form to fill it out. Okay. People are lazy. They don't have time for that. So if they're filling out your form, calling you, okay, they want your services. So if they didn't want them the first time, they're still going to want them.Maybe something was off. It might not always be price. It could be maybe they haven't trusted you yet, but maybe they trust you once you just start piling them on with text messages. So
And
Zapier,
text
Orbis X
messages.
leads.
Yes, you guys are in the weeds, which I want you to be. So I'm going to bring everybody out of the weeds and make sure everybody understands what Aaron's talking about when he says Zapier is a software integration tool that basically takes this island over here and this island over here and says, we're going to build a bridge so you don't have to swim across and do all this work. You can just walk across the bridge. So Zapier just takes two different softwares and it integrates them. So in this particular example, what Aaron is saying is we could take our leads from people who are putting in their phone numbers because they say we're interested in detailing, they're taking action on our ads, and those people can be automatically put into our, let's say, lead list inside of Orbis X. We don't have to go in and manually move this person over to here. It happens automatically. That's what Zapier does. And in addition to that, I thought I'd comment, this is what you said in terms of we text clients. That's a lot of our drip campaigns are text messages. This is actually a really important point here that Orbis X allows you to do, because text message open rates are going to exceed email open rates and click-through rates every single time.
It's 90%. It's 90%. It's 90% or above, and that type of open rate is money. That type of open rate is because of the laws of diminishing return. So you say you have 1,000 impressions. So on a Google ad, you have 1,000 impressions. 100 people on average will click on your ad. Out of those 100 people that click on your ad, you're going to get 10 to 20 that actually are willing to buy, depending on the relevancy and everything like that. But that's the same thing. It's a law of diminishing return. With the text messages being so engaging, everybody has their phone on them. Like I have mine propped up right here, and it's see, look, he's got 2 of them. Dear God, man, are you crazy? That's amazing. But that's that open rate. So you're always going to be seen. You're always going to be there. And that's so essential if you want to keep you in the forefront of a client or potential lead's mindset. You have to be there. And, that's right on.
I can't even tell you the amount of times that I'll send a message, a lead nurture message out to a lead from Orbis. And, they'll call me, God knows, 4 months later. I've gotten people calling me 4 months later. They're like, I need my car detailed, but I never got it done, but you texted me. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So what happens if I didn't text you? I would have lost you. And I just book them on the spot because they're so tired of waiting. They're so tired of everything. They got that text message. Boom.
Yes.
And they're ready to rumble.
The other tiny little strategy that I don't think people talk about a lot here, but when you have a list of, let's say, numbers and their leads, and we're texting them about detailing services, inside of that text message, it is very helpful, because of what Aaron just touched on, to include a word like car detailing, auto
Hmm.
detailing, because when they go back 4 months later to find who was that guy, he's not saved in my phone, I don't know,
Search,
where do they go? That's right. They search at
search.
the top of their text message and they say, hey, let's just go there automatically. It's the great thing about the spotlight, sit on my Mac. I can go and type in the search bar and find anything on my computer. I don't have to have any files organized anywhere. So anyway, including words like detailing and car detailing, when people are ready to get that done, they're going to search those words. And if
Hmm.
your text message is going to come up because it's got that phrase in there. So anyway.
It's a great way to find it, and it's right on, right on. Aaron, do you have anything else you want to add into this?
Now let's jump right into this exclusivity. That word is a challenge.
All right, all right.
Exclusiveness.
Okay, so the reason why for Google Ads is like we went over a lot of it, but one of the things is does help you keep your clients in the know. It's not the same as marketing and the way of Facebook does it, but it's similar purpose, similar purpose. So the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that we as a nation are constantly moving. There are people moving into the location, they're moving, so the population is always changing. Somebody who's just moved into your area may not know what's going on. They might have a Lamborghini, they might have a nice Porsche, they might have a nice BMW, they might have a Kia Optima. It doesn't matter. They want their car cleaned. Well, that's why you have these ads, because they don't know the area. They don't know who's at. If you happen to have a storefront, if you happen to be a mobile guy, nobody, you don't know the area, so you just moved in. Where is everything? You're just getting to know your neighbors. So keep in mind, there's always moving population. So it's good to have your ads on the forefront for the keywords you have, because there's always the potential of new households coming in, new people moving in, as well as people moving out. And you have
And
to keep that in mind.
yes, this is a really important point here, and I'd love to get your take on this in terms of, there are certain things that we can apply fundamentally across like a global platform, like the things we're talking about here. It needs to be exclusive. It needs to have a unique selling proposition in
Correct.
terms of the value upgrade. Those are universal things, but there are more specific things that each of you guys who are watching this are going to need to dive into and think maybe a little bit outside the box. For example, I live in a city that's unbelievably fast growing right now. We have everybody from California is moving to our city. Okay, New York, Chicago. So I can actually go in, I can look at the demographics of people moving here. I can see what kind of rate people are actually coming in. And we might be able to even use certain very simple tools like Google Keyword Planner, and
Hmm.
be able to actually look at what are some of the, let's say, maybe not crazy popular keywords, but let's say mid-level keywords that people are searching, and can I draw any connections between like people moving from Chicago, New York, California? Let's say if a
Yeah.
keyword might be something like um,
I just moved from Chicago. Where's a detailer?
that's right, that's right.
So if I just moved from Chicago and I need a detailer, that's what we call a long tail keyword. That's
Yes.
a very important thing to keep in mind. Mobile detailing is a short tail keyword. All right, mobile detailing near me is a mid-size one. And so long tail keywords are going to be the most intent or the hottest type of lead, because you typed in and you have it exactly what they needed. So if you can
Yes.
find the ones that are the mid-level and have, say, 100 hits a month, 200 hits a month nationally, or even more, or in your area, because you can parse down with the Google Planner, you can parse down to your area and see the volumes there comparative to the national averages. Then you can really kind of find where the less competitive keywords are, and you can make those sing for you as a guy just starting off, or as a guy in the mid-level tier trying to expand. That's a great
Yes.
place to be if you can find those medium to long tail keywords. Yeah, you're not going to get a lot of hits or impressions, but when you get them, you get them.
Right.
Yeah.
So thinking creatively, specifically about where you live and what's going on in your city, there might be a particular popular car washing, everybody's like car wash near me rather than mobile detailing near me.
Yep.
It's like, is that a more popular phrase in Nashville than it is in New York? Do they say different things? So those are all things we can use, things like keyword planners, and really a lot of different keyword tools are out there and plugins to use. But this is something to take what we're talking about in this video, and you're going to have to put it through your own filter and actually
Correct.
apply it specifically where you live.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me jump on that second to last bullet point. Client opts in, you keep them in the loop. And this is kind of where my entire spiel comes in for this video today. But the key to, and this is for any service business, okay, but we're talking about detailing, my passion, time. It is the most essential part of this business, okay, because yes, I had a client text me. He said he wanted a ceramic coating. I said, I don't put ceramic coatings. I put protective coatings. Give me a call. 6:30 a.m. 3 days ago. Called him up, spent 20 minutes on the phone. He put down his deposit and I booked him for over $1,000. But you don't get those clients all the time. You just don't,
No.
sometimes you do, but they're rare. So what happens the other part of the time? It's time. So every single customer that you get has a cost to them, and we're not worrying about their implicit costs or explicit, none of that. We're really dealing with how much it costs to get them, okay, their acquisition cost.
Correct.
And Luke, you can touch on that, but every one of my clients has an acquisition cost. Now, it might not be necessarily from an ad if I found them on the streets. Well, that acquisition cost, okay, let's pull it into explicit. That's my time, okay.
Yep.
But more specifically, diving with these Google ads, their explicit cost is the amount of costs, that we had to pay Google to bring them in, to have them sign up. And generally, let's put it at, say, $10. Okay, could be 20 starting off, could be 40. But on a $200 service, costing $40, you're still making profit. Mm-hmm. Saying that they were $10 and then they don't book with you, where did that $10 go? Down the drain, right? But if you take time and they really opted in for your services and you send them 2 months down the road a promo for 5% off, you don't want to look at it like that 5% off is money that's out of your pocket, because you never had them in the first place. And when you never had them in the first place, that 5%, shoot, I'd get a client for 50% if it's worth my time, because
Sure.
I'm still bringing in money and that acquisition cost is not going just down the drain.
Right. I like the way you're talking, because this is the whole point of what we do in terms of our programs is we take detailers and turn them into people who think like they're running a business, and they're not just doing what they love. They're actually running a business around doing what they love. And so what Aaron is talking about here, and this is why we always talk about building the list, because if we're going to pay money to actually have somebody brought into our ecosystem and they actually took action on whatever ad we were paying money on and they came into our ecosystem, this bullet point here, keep them in the loop of promo content. We could just say keep them in the loop with content. Keep them in your loop, because we paid money to actually acquire them, and now it's time to actually take that lead, not let cobwebs grow on them, but actually use that lead to squeeze something out of it. And I don't mean that in, maybe that's kind of a crude way to say it, squeeze something out of them, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely, my man.
Yeah, what Aaron is saying is, if I spent money on the lead, even if I spent $50 on the lead, if my service is 3 times that ad spend, and maybe very little time, then I'm still coming out profitably. And so I'm willing to take that out of the total cost in order to actually turn that paid for lead into profit into my pocket. So this is all the, hopefully I can zoom back and do the macro, but this is all the way that detailers do not think. And part of what has made the attention to detail business that Aaron runs, and of course Sam helps run all the marketing for. Yeah, there you go. One of the things that's made it so successful is the fact that Aaron is actually running a business rather than just detailing cars. You can see in this whole call, we haven't talked about detailing at all. We're talking about keywords. We're talking about how to keep customers engaged once they're in your ecosystem. We're talking about drip campaigns. We're talking about building list, building trust with a customer. We're talking about how much time it takes between capturing them with an ad and them actually turning into a customer, and what that massaging period looks like in terms of texting them. Anyway, I'll back off, but that was all fantastic.
I have an add-on to that. Aaron, one of the things that in my time working with service writers at dealerships, doing interior repair and alloy wheel repair, one of the things I had a service writer years ago tell me, and he was a very successful service writer. He's like, "You hear that? You hear that, Sam?" I was listening. There was a phone ringing. He's like, "Yeah." Like, that's money. I'm like, yeah. Like every time that phone rings, that's money. You pick it up, you answer, and then you be courteous and you solve their problem. When you solve
That's
their
right.
problem, you now have their business. And
Right.
that's what we're doing. The problem is dirty car. Problem is messed up paint. We're the solution to that. You are the
Yes,
solution,
that's
you
right.
know, and that's fully that's money, dude.
That's right. And we talk about this a lot inside of the program itself, but when we're creating an ad, what we were talking about before was this unique selling proposition, this value upgrade. The other thing that happens in an ad is we have to actually think about what's going on inside of the person that we want to see the ad. So if we can actually sketch out who our ideal customer is, then we
It's
can
called
say,
an
okay,
avatar.
that's
It's
right, an
your client
avatar.
avatar. Your client
That's right.
avatar.
When
Absolutely.
we're able to do that, we can dive deeper rather than just saying, okay, I'm trying to sell a detailing service to them. What we're actually trying to do is fix their pain. We're trying to take pain away and turn
Pain
it
points,
into
baby.
pleasure. So we talk about that reversal in the program, and we go into
Oh
customer core
yeah,
beliefs
because
and all that stuff. But
the psychological line for pain versus pleasure is literally this close. Like
that's
it's
right.
this much of a difference in your brain. There's this much difference between pain and pleasure. So it's not hard to tip the scale one way or the other as long as you're doing it the
That's
right way.
exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, I think I know what you guys mean by this, but will you explain that last bullet point?
It proves
Yeah,
authority on the subject.
Yes.
Okay.
go for it.
Absolutely. The proof of the authority of the subject is once you have control of your Google ads and how we operate them, and once you have that zeroed in, as well as a qualified GMB, as well as all your different other avenues and vectors that you're bringing everything in, once everything is relevant, you gain the authority. So, like on the SEO side of things, Google will start recognizing all the different products that you're utilizing from their service and their platforms and bring them in. That's what SEO is. So it starts building on that as well. And so it helps your authority on the keyword or on the subject, your whatever your business is. And so by doing Google Ads, you prove your authority on the subject. You prove you are the one to come to. You prove that you're the one that's going to solve the pain point. You prove that I will help you with your problem.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
And can you touch on why it's so, I think you maybe already said this why, but maybe just to emphasize it.
Mhm.
In the detailing world, because they don't come from a marketing background or maybe a business ownership background, they tend
Yeah.
to look at the ads and then the organic in this sort of binary way. And it's, well, I did this organic and it didn't work, or I ran these ads and it didn't work. And so what I think I hear you saying, Sam, is both of these things work in tandem. This isn't this bifurcated thing. And when you have both and you're optimizing all of these avenues, you're going to be the guy who has the authority at the end of the day, maybe to say it simply.
Well, that's actually that is a side effect. That is absolutely a side effect of the situation. You can do one or the other. Now you're cutting your
Yes.
market in half. You're cutting your market in half. You're cutting your potentiality in half. Now there's some really good SEO guys out there that kill it. Now it's also dependent on your market. If you have a great SEO guy, well, if you have a saturated competition market, bro, you're going to have a hard time regardless. You're just simply going to you're going to have to be paying $2,000, $3,000 a month for somebody to be working over your backlinks, your SEO, your on-page keywords, your blog, your videos,
Sure.
all of that constantly. So yeah, if you want to stay on top of the game with SEO, it can be expensive. It can
Sure.
also be expensive with Google Ads. But if you have somebody who honestly knows what they're doing, whether it's SEO, whether it's Google Ads, and they understand the process and they know your industry, they know your business. There's plenty of marketers out there that can come in and say, yeah, I'll run your ads. But how many of them actually have background in what you're doing, or at least a
Right.
close association to that? And so that's
Right.
that's 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 what you need to find. That is somebody who understands your market as much as possible. I mean, heck, I'm in Texas, Aaron's in Illinois, and I still can zero in on his market. You
Right.
know, and
And
so
to that point, one of the things that I found is that the detailing industry is so saturated with people who don't understand this, that it is actually more difficult for me to find an area of the United States, or let's say of the world, where detailers are just fighting each other for optimization. It's so difficult for me to find those areas because, again, so many detailers are running ragtag operations. And so oftentimes there's just what I call this white space by default, where you can just come in, turn a few knobs that are actually relatively simple, and all of a sudden you see this exponential increase just because, kind of like Charlie Munger said, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just want to make sure you're competing with a whole bunch of idiots. And luckily, they're in large supply. So
Yeah.
in some
I
in
love
some
that.
ways,
That's
yeah,
great.
we kind of see that. I think I see that outworking in the organic optimization, the ad optimization in the detailing industry specifically around the world.
I would have to agree with that. As I do keyword research and I do something called funnel hacking and things like that to come in and take a look at what your offers are. I did that to Aaron. I did that to all my clients. I funnel hack them to beat the band. And basically, what a funnel hack is where I come in like I'm a client and then go backwards through your funnel and see what you have and see where it falls short. And I try to go through and do that. And that's what a funnel hack is. And so, you got to be there. That's just it's important. It's so very important. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay. I think we kind of netted out there, and that's a perfect way to cap that off. One thing I will ask a little bit of info on is one of these bullet points you have here is, and this is a big one because I get to talk to detailers on a daily basis, and I mean we would consider ourselves very dialed in terms of what detailers want, what their struggles are, what we really know them. And one of the things that constantly comes up, even in the most simplistic ways, is I'm afraid I'm going to bother my customer by asking them for a review. So I can only imagine if we were to extrapolate that out and we start telling detailers, hey, we need to be emailing customers, we need to be text messaging customers. I can imagine the anxiety going, I can't even ask them for a review because I feel like I'm bothering them. So what do you mean by you can send information and not annoy anyone?
Okay.
You want me to take this one?
If you want to, I have a little bit to add, and then you can step in. It's going to be very short.
Go for it.
The way to do it is one, understanding your market. You are the detailer in your market, wherever you're at. You know the type of people that you are catering to and that your avatar is. So once you understand that, you can then turn on a nurture sequence, or you can engage them with text message, email, or offering up a review. You can do that and have finesse. You understand how to word it, and you don't have to hit them every single day. You can hit them once a week, and you can hit them however you feel comfortable doing that. And my next point for everybody who is a professional or trying to be a professional, and I'm going to be very serious about this, don't sell yourself short. Own who you are, be the professional, because that's what you're trying to do. Have confidence because you got this and you will be okay. That's the thing. You're the professional. It's your business. Make sure you're protecting your business by asking for the things that you need to make your business succeed. If you don't, well, guess what? You're behind the pack.
Yeah,
totally.
I can close this entire thing off just by saying, if you don't feel like you can text that customer or send them a review, then they're not the customer for you.
Boom.
Love it. I love that. And people will sniff that out. I mean, it's a very easy thing to kind of, for a customer to feel when the person I'm talking to, almost it feels like they don't even know if they know what they're talking about. There's this insecurity, this kind of lack of confidence. It's very normal in the beginning, but when it's present,
it's contagious.
You can feel it. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's contagious.
It is. It is. Is there anything else you guys would like to cover or add or highlight?